Before you throw away another bottle of expensive cleaner, stop. Because the one thing sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now, the same box you use for baking cookies, might actually work better than half the products under your sink. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly why professional cleaners keep a box of this stuff in every single room of their house. If you've ever scrubbed a pan until your arm hurt, or sprayed a stain 5 times and watched it just sit there laughing at you, this video is for you. Today, we're breaking down 10 baking soda cleaning tricks that actually work, the exact amounts to use, the mistakes that make people give up too early, and the pro-level tips that turn a simple pantry staple into one of the most effective cleaning tools you own. So why does baking soda even work in the first place? A lot of people think it's just a mild abrasive, something gritty that scrubs dirt away. That's part of it, but it's not the whole story. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, and it's mildly alkaline. That means it can neutralize acidic odors like the ones from spoiled food, sweat, or smoke, instead of just covering them up. On top of that, its crystal structure is soft enough to not scratch most surfaces, but rough enough to lift grime without you needing to scrub until you're exhausted. And when you combine it with something acidic, like vinegar or lemon juice, it creates a gentle fizzing reaction that physically helps loosen stuck-on residue. That reaction isn't magic, it's simple chemistry, but it's incredibly useful when you understand how to use it correctly. Here's the problem, though. Most people use baking soda wrong. They sprinkle a tiny bit on a sponge, wipe once, and when the stain doesn't disappear immediately, they assume it doesn't work. The truth is baking soda needs time, moisture, and the right ratio to actually do its job. Using too little product, not letting it sit long enough, or using it on the wrong surface are the 3 biggest reasons people think the stuff is overrated. It's not overrated, it's underused, and today we're fixing that. Let's start with trick number 1, cleaning your microwave without any harsh chemical smell. Mix 2 tablespoons of baking soda with 1 cup of warm water in a microwave-safe bowl, place it inside, and run the microwave for 3 minutes on high. Don't open the door right away. Let it sit for another 5 minutes so the steam keeps working on all that dried-on splatter. When you open it up, take a damp cloth and wipe the inside walls and ceiling. Everything that used to require scrubbing will now wipe away with almost no effort because the steam has already softened it and the baking soda has helped neutralize any lingering food odors. Trick number 2 is for your oven, and this is where a lot of people give up too soon. Make a paste using half a cup of baking soda and just enough water to form a thick, spreadable consistency, similar to cake frosting. Avoid the oven's heating elements and spread this paste generously across the bottom and interior walls. Here's the part people skip. You need to let this sit for at least 12 hours. Overnight is ideal. This isn't a 5-minute job. The paste needs time to break down baked-on grease and carbon buildup. In the morning, use a damp cloth to wipe out as much as you can, then spray the remaining residue with white vinegar. You'll see it foam up slightly, which means it's still reacting with leftover baking soda and helping lift the last bit of grime. Wipe clean with a damp cloth, and you'll be shocked at how much grime comes off without a single toxic fume. Trick number 3, and this one surprises people every time. Baking soda for your mattress. Sprinkle a generous, even layer across the entire surface, focusing on any areas with visible stains or where you tend to sweat the most. Let it sit undisturbed for at least 1 hour, though several hours or overnight works even better if you have the time. The baking soda absorbs moisture, sweat residue, and odor molecules trapped deep in the fibers. Afterward, vacuum thoroughly using the upholstery attachment, going over the entire mattress slowly rather than quickly. Your mattress won't just smell fresher, it'll actually feel drier and cleaner because you've pulled out moisture that regular airing out never removes. Trick number 4 is one every parent and pet owner needs: carpet stains and general carpet freshening. For light general odor, sprinkle baking soda evenly across the carpet before bed and vacuum it up in the morning. For actual stains, first blot up any excess liquid with a clean cloth, then make a paste of 3 parts baking soda to 1 part water. Gently work it into the stain with an old toothbrush, moving in small circles rather than harsh scrubbing, which can damage carpet fibers. Let the paste dry completely, which usually takes a few hours, then vacuum it away. The dried baking soda pulls the stain up and out of the fibers as it dries, rather than pushing it deeper the way wet scrubbing often does. Trick number 5, your stovetop, especially those stubborn burnt-on rings around the burners. Sprinkle baking soda directly onto the cooled stovetop, then spray it with white vinegar. Let that fizzing reaction sit for about 10 minutes. Take a damp sponge and wipe in circular motions. For extra stubborn spots, don't add more pressure, add more time. Let a small paste sit directly on the toughest spot for an additional 5 to 10 minutes before wiping it in. Patience beats scrubbing power almost every single time with this method. Trick number 6 is for your refrigerator, both the inside shelves and that lingering smell that never seems to go away no matter how many times you wipe it down. For cleaning, dissolve 2 tablespoons of baking soda in a quart of warm water and wipe down every shelf, drawer, and interior wall with the solution. It cleans without leaving behind a chemical smell that could transfer to your food, which is a real risk with a lot of commercial sprays. For ongoing odor control, place an open box of baking soda or a small bowl filled with it toward the back of the fridge. Replace it every 30 days. This isn't about scrubbing, it's about continuous odor absorption happening in the background every single day. Trick number 7, grout lines between your tiles, which is honestly one of the hardest things to clean in most homes. Make a thick paste using baking soda and just a small amount of water, then apply it directly along the grout lines using an old toothbrush. Let it sit for 15 minutes, then spray the area lightly with vinegar and watch it fizz. Scrub gently along the lines, following the direction of the grout rather than scrubbing across it randomly. Rinse thoroughly with clean water and a cloth. This combination lifts years of trapped dirt out of porous grout without you needing a specialized grout cleaner, which usually contains far harsher chemicals than most people realize. Trick number 8 is for your silverware and stainless steel sinks, and this one gives genuinely impressive results. For stainless steel, sprinkle baking soda directly onto a damp sponge and wipe in the direction of the steel's grain, not against it, which matters more than most people think. Wiping against the grain can create tiny scratches that dull the finish over time. Rinse and dry immediately to avoid water spots. For tarnished silverware, line a bowl with aluminum foil, shiny side up, add hot water, a spoonful of baking soda, and a pinch of salt. Submerge the tarnished silverware so it touches the foil directly. Within a few minutes, you'll see the tarnish transfer right off the silver and onto the foil through a simple chemical reaction. Rinse and dry your silverware, and it'll look noticeably brighter without any manual polishing at all. Trick number 9, your washing machine, which quietly builds up grime and odor that most people never think to address. Add half a cup of baking soda directly into your empty washing machine drum, then run a hot water cycle with no clothes inside. If your machine has a self-clean setting, use that instead. This clears out detergent residue and mildew buildup that regular washing cycles leave behind, which is often the real reason your clean laundry still smells slightly off. Trick number 10, and this is a favorite among professional cleaners, shoes and gym bags. Sprinkle a small amount of baking soda directly into your shoes or gym bag and let it sit overnight. In the morning, simply shake it out or vacuum it up. It absorbs moisture and odor-causing bacteria directly at the source, rather than just masking the smell temporarily the way most sprays do. If the smell is particularly stubborn, spoon a small amount into an old sock, tie the end, and drop that little pouch directly inside the shoe. That way the baking soda stays contained, but still pulls moisture out of every corner, including the toe area, where sprays usually never reach. While we're on the subject of odor, let's talk about two more spots almost nobody thinks to treat, even though they're some of the biggest offenders in any home: your cutting boards and your kitchen trash can. For cutting boards, especially wooden ones that seem to hold on to onion and garlic smells no matter how many times you wash them, sprinkle baking soda directly onto the damp surface and scrub with half a cut lemon. The citric acid in the lemon reacts with the baking soda the same way vinegar does, and the natural oils in the lemon peel leave the wood smelling clean instead of like whatever you chopped the night before. Let it sit for 5 minutes, then rinse thoroughly and dry standing up so air can reach both sides evenly. For your trash can, and this one solves a smell that most people just assume is permanent, pull out the liner and sprinkle a generous layer of baking soda directly onto the bottom of the empty can before putting a new bag in. This soaks up any leaked liquid and neutralizes odor at the source instead of letting it build up under a fresh bag every single week. Every time you change the bag, that layer is already doing quiet work underneath, and you'll notice the difference within a single trash cycle without ever having to think about it again once it's in place. Now let's talk about the mistakes that trip people up, because these matter just as much as the tricks themselves. The first mistake is using baking soda on surfaces it's not meant for, particularly aluminum, gold-plated items, and certain natural stones like marble or granite. Because baking soda is mildly abrasive, it can dull these finishes over time with repeated use. Always test on a small, hidden area first if you're unsure. The second mistake is mixing baking soda and vinegar inside a sealed container. That fizzing reaction needs somewhere to release pressure. In an open bowl or on a surface, it's completely safe. In a tightly closed bottle, it can build up pressure and cause a mess, or in rare cases, a small burst. Always leave your mixing container open or only loosely covered. The third mistake is not giving the baking soda enough contact time. This is genuinely the #1 reason people think these tricks don't work. A quick 5-second wipe isn't enough time for the chemistry to actually happen. Whether it's 10 minutes or overnight, time is doing a huge part of the work here, not just the scrubbing. The fourth mistake is using old, stale baking soda for tough cleaning jobs. Baking soda absorbs moisture and odors from the air over time, which is great for a box sitting in your fridge, but it means an old box that's been open for months has already partially reacted with whatever it's been sitting near. For heavy-duty jobs like ovens or grout, start with a fresh, tightly sealed box for the strongest reaction. The fifth mistake is pressing too hard when scrubbing, especially on painted or coated surfaces. People assume more pressure equals more cleaning power, but baking soda is doing chemical work, not just physical work. Light, consistent pressure over a longer time will almost always outperform aggressive scrubbing, and it protects your surfaces at the same time. Now, here's an important safety note. Never mix baking soda and bleach together, and more importantly, never mix vinegar and bleach together either, since some of these tricks pair naturally with vinegar and people sometimes assume more cleaning products means more cleaning power. Combining bleach with an acid, like vinegar, can release chlorine gas, which is genuinely dangerous to breathe in an enclosed space like a bathroom or kitchen. Stick to baking soda paired with either water or vinegar. Never bleach. And always make sure the room you're cleaning in has decent airflow. Let's talk about what the pros do differently, because there are a few small adjustments that make a noticeable difference. Professional cleaners often use warm water instead of cold when mixing baking soda pastes, because warm water helps the sodium bicarbonate dissolve more evenly, which means more consistent cleaning coverage instead of gritty clumps sitting in one spot. They also tend to let baking soda work in layers for tough jobs, applying a first layer, letting it sit, wiping partially, then applying a second, thinner layer for the final push, rather than expecting one single application to handle years of buildup in one shot. And for odor control specifically, many professionals will place small, opened containers of baking soda in multiple spots around a room, rather than just one large container, since surface area matters more than total volume when it comes to absorbing odors from the air. Another thing professionals do that most people skip entirely is testing the water hardness in their area before assuming a recipe will work exactly as written. If you live somewhere with very hard water, baking soda pastes can sometimes leave a faint, chalky residue behind on dark surfaces like black countertops or dark tile. The fix is simple. Do a final wipe with plain water on a clean cloth after any baking soda application, especially on dark or glossy surfaces, just to catch any residue before it dries and becomes visible. It's a 30-second step that a lot of home cleaners never think to add, and it's honestly the difference between a good result and a genuinely professional-looking finish overall. Pros also tend to keep their baking soda paste slightly wetter than most people expect for jobs like grout and stovetops. A paste that's too thick dries out fast and stops reacting, while a slightly looser paste, closer to a thick pancake batter than actual frosting, stays workable longer and keeps that gentle chemical reaction going for the full contact time instead of drying into a hard, crumbly layer within a few minutes. Let's talk about what your results should actually look like when you're done, because this matters for setting realistic expectations. Your oven interior should look noticeably lighter without that thick black carbon layer, though some staining on older, heavily used ovens may take 2 or 3 applications over separate days to fully clear. Your stainless steel should have a soft, even shine following the grain, not a streaky or spotty finish. Your grout lines should look several shades lighter and more uniform in color along their length. And your fabrics, whether that's a mattress, carpet, or gym bag, should genuinely smell neutral. Not like a strong fragrance masking something underneath, but actually neutral, because that's the real sign the odor molecules were absorbed and removed, rather than just covered up temporarily. It's also worth being honest about what baking soda won't do, because setting the right expectations from the start is a genuinely important part of actually being happy with the result you end up getting once everything is dry and wiped clean. It's not going to disinfect a surface the way a proper disinfectant will, since it doesn't kill bacteria or viruses. It just cleans, deodorizes, and lifts grime. If you're dealing with something like raw meat residue on a cutting board or a genuinely contaminated surface, follow up with an actual disinfecting product afterward. Baking soda also won't strip heavy-duty grease the way a degreaser will in a single pass, which is exactly why the resting time matters so much for jobs like ovens and stovetops. Think of baking soda as the gentle, repeatable, everyday workhorse of your cleaning routine, not the one-shot heavy artillery for the worst messes you'll ever encounter. Knowing the difference means you'll actually reach for it at the right moments, instead of feeling let down when it doesn't behave like bleach or a commercial degreaser. For long-term maintenance, the real trick isn't doing one massive baking soda clean-out once a year. It's small, consistent touches. A box in the fridge replaced monthly. A quick sprinkle on the stovetop after cooking a greasy meal instead of letting it sit for a week. A quick pass through your washing machine every month or 2 instead of waiting until it smells noticeably off. Consistency is what separates a home that always feels clean from one that only feels clean right after a deep clean. A simple way to actually stick with this is to build it into things you're already doing, instead of treating it as an extra chore. Keep a small open container near your sink so sprinkling it on the stovetop after dinner takes 0 extra effort. Set a recurring reminder on your phone for the fridge box and the washing machine cycle, since those are the 2 most people genuinely forget about until the smell reminds them the hard way. And keep a spare box specifically for cleaning, separate from the one you use for baking, so you're never caught mid-recipe without enough left for a quick stovetop wipe down. These are small structural changes, but they're honestly the actual difference between a trick you tried once and a genuine habit that quietly keeps your entire home smelling and looking better all year round. It's also worth mentioning cost, because this is genuinely one of the more surprising parts once you start using baking soda regularly. A single box costs a fraction of most specialty cleaners, yet it's replacing your oven cleaner, your grout cleaner, your silver polish, your fridge deodorizer, your garbage disposal cleaner, all at once. Over the course of a year, swapping even half of those specialty products for baking soda and vinegar adds up to real, noticeable savings, on top of cutting down on the number of half-used spray bottles cluttering your cleaning cabinet. Now, here's your bonus tip, and this one is specifically for anyone dealing with a smelly garbage disposal, which is one of the most common overlooked odor sources in any kitchen. Pour half a cup of baking soda directly down the disposal, followed by a cup of white vinegar. Let it fizz and sit for about 10 minutes, then run hot water down the drain while flipping the disposal on for about 30 seconds. This clears out trapped food particles along the blades and neutralizes the sour smell that builds up from days of food breakdown sitting in a dark, damp space you never actually see. If you want to take it one step further, freeze a mixture of baking soda, a few lemon peels, and water in an ice cube tray. Then drop 2 or 3 of those cubes into the disposal every couple of weeks. As the ice grinds down, it scrubs the blades mechanically, while the baking soda and lemon handle the odor at the same time, which means you're getting a 2-in-1 clean without any extra effort beyond tossing in a cube. It's the kind of small habit that professional cleaners build into their monthly routine without even thinking about it, and it keeps that disposal smell from ever building back up in the first place. One last thing worth mentioning before we wrap up. Storage matters more than people realize. Baking soda works best when it's kept dry and sealed, since it naturally draws in moisture from the air over time. If your box has been sitting open in a humid bathroom cabinet for months, it may already be partially clumped and less effective than a fresh box would be. Keep your cleaning supply of baking soda in an airtight container in a cool, dry spot away from direct sunlight, and it'll stay just as effective the day you use the last spoonful as it was the day you first opened it. So, here's the bottom line. Baking soda isn't a miracle product, and it's not going to replace every single cleaner in your house. But when you understand how it actually works, mild abrasion for scrubbing, mild alkalinity for neutralizing odors, and that gentle chemical reaction with acids for lifting stuck-on grime, you start using it in ways that genuinely get results, instead of leaving you wondering why it didn't work. The 10 tricks we covered today, from your oven to your mattress to that garbage disposal nobody thinks about, are all things you can try this week with a product you probably already have sitting in your kitchen right now. What makes this approach genuinely worth adopting isn't any single trick on its own. It's the fact that one simple, inexpensive ingredient can realistically replace half a dozen specialty products scattered around your house, while also being gentler on your surfaces, safer for your family, and kinder to the air you're actually breathing while you clean. You don't need a cabinet full of bottles with warning labels you can barely pronounce to get a genuinely clean home. You need the right technique, the right amount of patience, and an ingredient that's probably already sitting 3 feet away from you right now. Start small if you want to. Pick just one trick from this list, maybe the stovetop or the fridge, and try it this week. Once you see how noticeably different the result is compared to what you were doing before, the rest of these tricks start feeling less like extra chores and more like small wins you're genuinely looking forward to. And once you've tried a couple, you'll probably find yourself reaching for that box in the pantry before you even think about grabbing a spray bottle, simply because you already know it works and you already know exactly how to use it correctly. If this video helped you see your cleaning routine a little differently, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this one. Subscribe if you want more practical, no-nonsense cleaning tips without the fluff. And let me know in the comments which one of these 10 tricks you're trying first. I read every single one, and I genuinely love seeing which tip ends up being everyone's favorite once they actually test it out for themselves. If you want to go even deeper, I've got another video breaking down exactly which cleaning products you should never store next to each other. And trust me, a few of those combinations might genuinely surprise you, because some of them are sitting right next to each other under your sink at this very moment without you realizing the risk. Thanks so much for genuinely watching all the way to the very end, and I'll see you in the next one.